So yeah, hello. Hello and welcome to our new and exciting kickoff for CIJ. Um, we are going to go through in this one very basics, logging in, navigating, naming conventions. I might even have a slide. There you are. What is CIJ? Marketo versus CIJ, some of the terminology, logging in, user permissions, setting views, searching, filtering, naming conventions, and then the library for files and images. I think the first question you're probably going to have is how, hang on, where have I got it open? How to log in. So this is the view in Dynamics 365 that we're all used to. We use it every day. We should be able to, and you should all now have like view access. If you click at Sales Hub, you'll get all of the different apps available. And then clicking here will take you into CIJ. Might be worth checking this while we go through the presentation. You should, I think, have view access. I'm also, I think Britt's in the background, so she might jump in if I start mumbling or saying anything that isn't quite right. So what is CIJ? It is Microsoft's equivalent of Marketo, is the short version. It integrates with all of the Microsoft tools. We have really great stuff built in there. We have Copilot, so we can ask it. I was using it last night to help build a segment, and you can literally, like we would have any other LLM, type in what we need. It will feed you back, so that should speed up the work that we have to do on a day-to-day. Is designed for organizations already using the Microsoft ecosystem, like Dynamics 365, which we're doing, and it integrates with the Dataverse, which is all sitting in the back end, so we should get lots of lovely data. Obviously, with the new platform, there's going to be some differences. So I will let you kind of look at this. If anyone has any questions, obviously, feel free to put your hand up. The main things it should give you is coming into this blind, you should have an easier time. We know the view, we sort of know how to navigate. It should have benefits, great benefits. A couple of things to call out though, you'll see at the bottom, is Zoom. So we are very used to doing all of our webinars in Zoom. We do not have Zoom integration. However, we do have out of the box Teams integration. And we can make what is called town hall meetings, which are very similar to a Zoom webinar. It's one person presenting, other people attending. Or we can do Teams webinars. Katia does not have it. Neither does Andrea. Britt, no one does. Looking at Karen shaking her head. Britt, I thought everyone had view access. Am I?
Okay, so we have requested view access for everyone, latest 1st of November, as soon as possible, we said. So the request was already sent. We were hoping they would have turned it around by now. Latest 1st of November then, for sure. So next week, if not tomorrow, we thought they already done it, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. We did try to get you access, but it is coming soon, and we'll let you know when it's available.
Oh, maybe one note to make as well, since you were mentioning Zoom. So yeah, the question was out there. Has this been, is this finalized? Is this the decision? Ben is going to send out communication about this because obviously people need to know, is this the final decision? Pretty much at this stage, it has to be, because I don't think we get the integration in the way it's looking, but also for good reasons. We mentioned that for the people in the Tiger team, there are some good reasons why we're doing this. So please stay tuned for communication on transitioning from Zoom webinar to Teams webinar when it comes to telling not just field marketing, but also SEs. People need to be aware that we're switching and that training is coming.
I have
Thank
one
you,
quick question. During the transition, can we still use Zoom to avoid building double? Or should I not count on that?
You can, I mean, you can, but obviously understand that there's no integration. So if you're doing it in Zoom, you might have to do more work yourself in terms of taking attendees, uploading, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yes, Sophie, it should fully integrate. So people like statuses, attendances, all of that should be automatic, similar to how the integration is for Zoom, right? That's what we love. So obviously, new technology, new terminology. Oh, I'm going to copyright that phrase. We've got a list of how everything is referred to. So things like a smart campaign, CIJ, is called a journey. Reports and analytics, analytics and insights. Smart campaign triggers are just called triggers. Smart lists and segmentation of segments, contacts, emails, all of that. You'll get used to it very quickly. It's not so dissimilar that anybody is going to be left scratching their heads trying to work out what's going on. Here is some more. I'll share this later. It just gives you like some nice definitions of each action, each part, each terminology. Hopefully this will be helpful. I'm not going to just talk through it because you're all smart and you can click onto it quickly. I'm not going to play this because I don't want to hear my own voice, but I'll share this later. And there's like a step-through guide of logging in, having a look, but we're going to do it now anyway. User permissions. So this is just as a heads up, right? Starting in November, all users will have viewer access. And at this point, we really encourage you to go in when you can view, click around, have a experiment and see how things look for you. After that, we'll escalate permissions as we do the training. So you'll then be able to create, edit campaigns, events, forms, all this good stuff. Everything will be saved so you can come back and review it later. Anything to add, Britt?
No, maybe see it the way you, for those who remember when they started in Marketo, is the initial access you get once you've been trained a little bit more and we know which people need access. It's not going to be everyone right away, but those that need to build will get better, more access. And it's in, the beginner access in Marketo. So you can create, you can edit, you can put in content, you can create events, you can do everything. You just can't execute. So that is what Mark is going to say, that publishing, so the sending email and activating logic is first after full training.
Thank you. Sophie, I'm not sure I get your message. Will assignation be easier with CIJ? How do you?
Yes, today when we have when we had a discussion with Britt, we wanted to send an alert to the seller only when there is, a follow-up to be done. So, for instance, when they have a meeting and they have after, to follow the meeting in Dynamics. So today, as you know, we upload in Marketo. I ask you to use a specific program to create an alert to the seller. That he not always receive, sometimes it arrives to me and I do the transfer to the seller. So we have an easier way if we have this kind of leads to be followed in CIJ, that it's if we have a template, for instance, in which we put the name of the seller, it will be contact assignment. It will be done automatically. For real, I mean. I know it depends on the data in Dynamics also. I know.
Yeah. I want to say yes, because one of the great things about CIJ is how easy it is to like create actions. Is this something that immediately you start is going to be out of the box ready? You can just use it? Probably not. We're still going to have to do a fair bit of deciding what's right and what goes where. But I would say yes, it will be. Will it be immediate? No.
Okay.
So we might
So-
have to find ways to begin with. The great
Wait.
thing is because we're integrating straight with Dynamics, some of these
Exactly.
that Marketo had to do and had more complications should disappear.
Yeah.
But we do still need to build this.
Mhm.
And right now, what we want to build first is making sure we can
Mhm.
market, and then how we get these sorts of alerts. And like I've literally just finished reading something that is talking about firing off internal alerts after events and how we can do it. There's a whole like platform behind it, Power Automate, that is super powerful and can do wonderful stuff. So
Okay.
hopefully yes, but bear with us, please. Thank you.
Okay. And if you create, a kind of communication worksheet process, will you also be able to share with us, really at the very beginning of the use of CIG, in the setup, which mandatory field have to be filled in, and which field, to make sure in Power BI the reports are right? Because you remember, I think it's I asked you. You remember we have 3 different fields in Marketo for the country, for instance, and finally Power BI takes into account the second one. But
Yeah.
if you don't know if it's the second one, sometimes you put the first one, sometimes the third one, and then in Power BI you say, oh, but my marketing campaign is not there. Ah ben no, because you didn't put the country. Ah bon? So voilà, if we have some easy, when you create a program, if you want to make sure to have your report in Power BI, click here, click here, click here.
Yep.
It would,
Yeah, I mean, remember that everything is ending up, I mean, with even Power, right? Everything is Microsoft. So we don't have to translate. We're not like, everything over time should become just smoother and smoother and smoother. Everything, front end stuff for forms and stuff, we're templating. So like in Marketo, we're templating, but it means that the data flow should be a lot smoother. It should make all of these things easier.
Okay, cool.
Setting views and searching and filtering. So again, I think at this point it's worth bouncing over. So this is CIJ. This is your landing page where you come in. We have, like we always would, contacts. Remember that just like in Dynamics, it's always going to pre-filter down to you. So if we're looking for something, we'd want to expand it to all contacts. And then we can start filtering, same as we would in Dynamics for, I think we can do, I have to check, here we are. Simple one would be, where are we? Address one. Country, where am I? There we go, thank you. So country region, I know it says region, it's a default thing, but country. And then we can say France. I have to minimize this, bear with me. Apply that. And this should be everyone who's in France, right? We're used to this, we know how to do it. We can add in additional columns that we might need if we want additional information. There's a bucket load. There's also like related fields. So that's fields related to the account that we can bring in. The important thing to remember is each time you work in a view, unless you save that view, it is a very temporary state. So if you spend an hour making an amazing view with great filters, pulling in all this information, and then you click away, then it's gone. So always remember, you can save things as a new view. name it accordingly. Views are visible just to you. They're not shareable across the industry, across everyone. We can do manage and share views, but whenever you save it, this is saving it for yourself.
Just a question. You know, yesterday I sent you an email, but finally I found the issue, let's say. Usually, you know, when we have leads, when we have unassigned contacts, they appear below Christina. And yesterday we had a meeting for Loïc Delval, and it was impossible for me to find it in Dynamics. And I saw that this one, alors I don't know if maybe I made a wrong process, but this one didn't appear below Christina, but appear below Marketo, Sync, something. So I couldn't see it because apparently I couldn't see this view. Well, maybe it's another topic, but will in CIG, in that case, we will have maybe, you know, one queue, let's say, to make sure that all leads will be in the same place and not below Christina or below Marketo or below Siege or below something else. Or maybe it's because I uploaded with a word the wrong way. I don't know.
Britt, do you?
Yeah, so there shouldn't
finally,
really be
I found
anyone
it.
left in owned by Marketo Sync. So we have a assignment logic, like a lead routing logic in place that puts your people in your country, the contact records, that they are automatically assigned to the bankers. And yes, that logic, you will all partner, not all of you. In the Tiger team, we ask for every field marketer to input on that logic, review it again, to make sure that same assignment logic is in place in CIJ. So yeah, expect the same to be there, and hopefully there are no default users out there, because you're right, as soon as it's a default user, you cannot see it.
Ah, ok. On pourra regarder ce truc? Ouais. Parce que, ok. Ok, I will check with Christina.
Okay. Similar, as we all know, we can search here as well, right? It shouldn't be groundbreaking. And we can come in and drill into the records. And the nice thing is, so if you needed to find this information in Marketo, it was quite laborsome. You find the record, you find the person, you drill into the record, you check their activity log. Here, everything is available. Everything should give you, you know, not only their details, the account details, the owner. You should be able to identify things very, very quickly, and it should take a lot of time out. Plus, we can visualize views if we need to. It will pull in sort of stats and make nice charts. You can see, you know, how many people in France are allocated to a certain seller. We won't run through that now, but the options are all built in, and you can do a lot with it. Like I said, this is an overview, right? We're not going to go too hard. Along the left, obviously, we've got segments. These are audience segments, contacts. I know it says leads. We don't use leads. Forget about leads. Emails, forms, our libraries, our templates. And what's that, Andrea? You can't see events. I know. Events live in a whole little sub-tab down here. So remember, there's multiple views. Just remember that. Filtering records, we've just been through this quickly. We know how to use filters and dynamics. If we don't, no worries, play around. Like, the more I play, the more I'm finding it can be super helpful. As said, these are the areas that we can look at. We've got journeys, we've got segments, contacts, emails, the library where we're going to upload images, banners, headshots, whatever they may be. Obviously, we've got naming conventions that we need to deploy, just like we did in Marketo. We have made an exciting change. God, I feel like I'm at an Apple keynote, because really all we did was change one letter, but we're going to announce it like a new product. Trend micro events are now trend events, so TE, okay? Similar to before, we want year, quarter, region, BU, country, and then the name. Similar for assets, they should all follow suit so we can identify and track everything. Here's a handy little breakout table because I am forgetful, so it's just as helpful for me as it is for you. The different asset types that we've got, the different events that we've got. Again, I'll share this after so you can check it out. Template.
And maybe, sorry, before we go to templates, maybe one thing to mention as well is, and we maybe could have put in a slide for that as well, is right now in Marketo, you have one program and a program name, and in that program, you have everything you need for it, the assets, the smart campaigns, the... What else do I have under?
Emails,
the
landing
assets,
page, everything.
So the logic and the
Logic.
assets, yeah. So that is all in one program. Now in CIJ, we still have a program name, but now that program name is going to be across all the different assets, and the assets are no longer lumped under the campaign, which is now in Microsoft. So see it as things are broken apart. They're no longer living all under one program umbrella, but they all share the same program name. So if you were to have, I don't know, here a Golf and Learn event, then you create a campaign called this program name in the campaign tab. Then you go to the other tab where you have your journey that supports the logic, what we know as a smart campaign, and you create it there also with the same program name, so you know they belong together. Then you create an email or multiple emails in the email tab, and then you give it the same name. So ultimately, your areas all supporting your program are going to be in multiple places, but they all have one thing in common, and that's the program name. Does that make sense?
Yes, can you please show in the Dynamics as a demo right now? Just an overview,
Sure.
not in detail. Thank you.
So here in the event planning, and apologies for, I don't know if there's anything in there actually, because we've mainly been in a different environment, but give it a minute.
I don't think we've done any events in production, to be honest.
So here we're in the event planning, we're in events. Here we would create our new event, whatever that may be. Formula One UK, right? We create our event here. We'll come back to it at some point when it loads. Then we'd come back into real-time journeys and we'd create our smart campaign, in this case, a journey, right? So we'd create a new journey here with the same naming convention. We would go to the library and add any assets that we'd need, images, etc., following the naming convention with the same name of the event. Then we'd create our email with the same naming. Do you follow? Does that make sense?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Mark.
No, no worries. Anything?
But that means we just name everything the same, but we don't call it Golf and Learn email, Golf and Learn journey. It just sticks the name and that's it.
It would be Golf and Learn email, Golf and Learn journey, golf. I mean, okay. You're right, because it's in an email folder. Do you need to call it an email? Probably not, but we will be using this search function heavily. And if you just type in Golf and Learn, it comes back with 5 options without knowing one is the journey, one is the email, one is... I would say always include what the asset type is, or if it's a journey, just so that you can find it, audit it, come back to it.
But maybe you will set up a template like how to do it, so we know how to name everything, right, Mark?
Of course.
Yeah, good.
And actually, the naming is the same as we're used to today. So we're only making one naming convention change, and that is for Trend Micro events, given that we're no longer called Trend Micro in the future. It's going to be called Trend Events instead. But otherwise, use the same program naming convention as you're used to today.
Maria, you had a question?
Yeah, what happens if we have more than one email per program or now campaign? So
just like we would
to...
any other time, we detail what the email is, right? So it would be invitation 1, invitation 2.
Okay, so adding this tag to the full name. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and again, most of this is so that you know when you're coming back, what is it? Caroline, you want to say you love this and no questions, right?
Of course.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, do we have a folder structure so we can kind of group things in each tab or no?
No, we do not, but we do. This is where filtering is going to become super useful, right? So we can be in all emails and then we can set a filter for ourselves. So it's like created by, and that equals, I think you can even say me at this point. Oh, no, you can't. You have to. So then you just pre-filter by yourself, and that way you get your dedicated view of anything you've created. While there's no folder structure, there is like infinite filtering. And so I'd say as you're working on something, you can set your filter for the project or set your filter for anything you've created.
Cool. Can we archive things? Because I think by the end of a year, it's going to be a very long list. Can we hide things at least?
Yes. So when they're done, you change them from active to deactive and it disappears. And again, there's a filter for seeing active things and non-active things. So inactive emails, active emails.
So how do you connect all of this? Like emails, forms, library, images, and so on? Is it the journey?
Everything is connected through. So the journey is similar to a smart campaign in Marketo. So the smart campaign says, who is it and what do I do in a very basic form? And the journey fills that space. It's like, what needs to happen to who? Oh, wow. Sorry, there's loads of questions that I haven't seen in the chat. No.
Maybe just to clarify, so Marketo could actually been organized in the same way and would work still, because you don't need to have everything lumped and listed under a program name in order for it to work. That smart campaign could have been, it doesn't matter where, because you're telling the smart campaign, when someone fills out the form for my webinar landing page, then do this. It doesn't need to live within a program to figure that out. So think of it that way. Marketo just has a different way of grouping your assets and all the pieces that you need for a program together differently, but it's just a visual thing more so than functional.
Yeah. I think Ilona had a question about the speed of which contacts will be available. Short answer, I don't know. But because we're in a Microsoft environment, my understanding is it should be quick. But please don't hold me to a specific time frame until we've tested really, really thoroughly and seen.
Yeah, and it's in all fairness, it's not going to be real time as we all thought. It's probably faster and we'll have less sync issues. We don't have to worry about sync issues, but it's not real time. That doesn't mean you have to wait 10 minutes, but we're not going to say anything how long you have to wait. It's too early. We haven't seen the masses yet, so stay tuned.
Okay, thank you.
Jorge?
I have a very quick question. Let's say, for example, that I forgot the name of the program. Is there any other way to look for the program? I mean, for example, if I forgot the name of the program in Marketo, I just go folder by folder. For example, it's an event, it's in the business unit, for example. So it would be very easy to look for that program. Is there any other way to look for the program instead of the search thing up there? I mean, kind of the list.
All comes to your filters, right? So in fact, you'd be able to get even more precise. So you would say, it was created by me in the last week, and it's like our naming convention contains my BU, and it will just bring back everything that you've done in a week. Whereas Marketo, you could never say like, oh, I know I made it last week, but how do I know, right? So these filters are super powerful, and you can do in terms of like I've forgotten what it is, but I know it was for the Spanish BU and I did it a couple of weeks ago. Then this will be much quicker. I know I uploaded an asset and the only bit I remember is this. So you just search contains this part of the name.
Okay, so let's say this kind of filter equals to the left part of the Marketo program, right? I mean, all the folders we have at the left part of Marketo equals to this.
Yeah, that's it. That's a fair analogy, but this is even more powerful, right?
Okay.
Marketo one works so well because we've folder structured it out. This has no folder structure, which means the ability to get in and look for all of these different sort of tiny things that we want to pinpoint makes it easier.
Okay, thank you.
There is a question from Sophie. Dear Mark, as you know, we are working on cleaning data. What will the process to make sure Dynamics will be updated, updating only new information? Will we have to upload the clean data into list purchase in CIJ? I would say, Britt, keep me honest here, but because Dynamics and CIJ are together, any action, like if we've already cleaned the data is clean. It now exists in CIJ in its clean format. We still want the best data we can get, so we will still keep cleaning our data. But once it's done, there's no separation of systems anymore. So once it's done in Dynamics, we're done. It's beautiful. We have better data all round. You're on mute, Britt.
Maybe to add to that is let's talk about this as list import, right? You can do list imports to add new records or change data on existing records. List imports are going to be in two worlds. There is, like in Marketo, a list import in CIJ that will more focus on adding members to a program, etc. That also can create and modify users, fair enough, but it's mainly for the purpose of managing members. And then there's a list import in D365 itself. If you want to clean up the data, don't do it through like we do in Marketo right now, because that's what we do all the list imports. If you want to clean up the data, it happens directly in D365 Dynamics. If it's got nothing to do with program membership. And those two are very different, or not different, they need to be thought of slightly different. And right now, it's not even 100% clear who and how list imports will be done. I mean, we can do imports, but who is allowed to do list imports in the future? We're still working it out. And the process and the guideline, when do you go directly to Dynamics, D365, and when do you use CIJ? Obviously we don't have the clear answers, but does that help you to understand that you need to think about what the purpose is for your data cleaning or membership focus? That's what tells you which direction to go.
Smashing. So that's naming convention. It's important to note, part of not detailed in that naming convention is anything that is a template, or so this would be like our global audience segments, like everybody who is in the UK IBU will have a segment and it will have an exclamation mark at the beginning of it. That means it will always be at the top of the list when sorted alphabetically. There'll be templates for emails, there'll be templates for journeys, and there'll be templates for forms. And then you'll clone from it, similar to how we would our in Marketo, we have our templates and we clone it and then we start working on it. Exactly the same. We wouldn't ever want to go into the template and start changing things. Library. Similar, we have our filters. So as Jorge was saying, I've forgotten what it was. How do I find it again? We've got our filters. We can organize by files I've uploaded, keywords that are included in the title, and then uploading. This is not rocket science. I don't think this is going to blow anybody's mind, but we literally just say new and we drag our files in. I know that's quite technically advanced. Does anyone need me to do it? I'm joking. Like, we'll be fine. We make sure our files are using the naming convention. We make sure we can do it. I don't think we've mentioned it, but you can tag things, but I can't. Remind me, Britt, where do we add in?
Right there. We need to still make the drop down. So, and this is actually awesome. So every one of you in Marketo, this is definitely an improvement. We all know the Design Studio and how hard it can be to find stuff. And worst case, you import it again because you couldn't find it, and it can live in different partitions and whatever. It was not the cleanest, to be honest. So here, this is actually neat that you have the very sophisticated filtering option, and even better, anything you upload, you can tag. So World Tour, for instance, if you have anything related to World Tour, tag it as World Tour. There will even be a drop down for you to select from, so the tagging is consistent. And then you can much easier than in Marketo find images through tagging, filtering on the tagging, or filtering on who created it or when it was created, you name it. It's more flexible.
And obviously not just images, it can be PDFs, it can be whatever you need. And then we can filter accordingly. Back to Jorge's thing, I've forgotten what it is. I know it was a PDF and I uploaded it in the last week. Perfect, we get to it through our filters super easily. There we go. So that's like quite a high speed run through. We know it's us presenting to you, and the advantage of this is going to be when you guys get hands-on. The idea is that we will do a Friday night, God, my brain is melting. A Friday drop-in session. We can all come together, play around, break it, do what we can. That is a fantastic question, Hannah, and it will be coming in the events section, which will be next. But essentially, events have their own form, which can be customized and styled, and that can be presented as a landing page. So yeah, that will be the next, is all about events and how they work. That's our agenda. I'll put in a session. Once we know you guys have view access, we'll put in the drop-in sessions on Friday. We'll be there. We'll go through anything that you need to. So these will be backing up the training. So as you play, please come. We'll record them and we can all learn together. Because while Britt and I have a bit more experience in this, it's all new and it's very exciting. Katja?
Question for the naming convention from pictures, what you just had.
Yep.
Do we, because we usually had email, banner, language, year, and then I named it, it belongs to webinar, but should it then now be, because you said we should use one naming convention for the whole project, would that be then the first part for also for the picture, and we will go then? Is it an email banner? Is it a landing page? Or do we stick to the naming convention to pictures, what we had before, and define it then? But then it's not part of the campaign name, what you had before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, again, jump in if I'm going to try here. Tags are going to be super important because we're going to use those more, but we should still stick to, and apologies I haven't included it, but things like headshot, right? HS, we know what it is. It's a reusable asset. If it's an asset that's specific to your event, then name it accordingly, right? So we'll have like the generic ones, headshots, things like that, logos, co-branded, and that should follow a naming convention. Am I right, Britt? That I have forgotten to include.
Yeah, and we haven't 100% finalized it, right? But if in Marketo you look at it, you're not giving a program name to your images. So the images have their own naming convention. And again, we had a pretty strict naming convention calling headshot as HS 24, whatever. We may even not have to make that naming of the files so rigid because you have so much better filtering options now and tagging. So who cares what you call your banner? As long as you tag it saying, this is my World Tour banner, maybe that's enough. That's what we need to find out.
Can I create own tags then? Because if I say I want to have it for my webinar session, that it's there, then I create my own tag and say it's the AI H2 webinar session.
Maybe.
Would that make sense?
Yeah, TBC. Technically, yes, but we
exactly technically, yeah.
I you know, if we give everyone freedom to do it, and then you come back and you end up with 10,000 individual tags, then tag doesn't work anymore. So we'd want some predefined ones, but obviously in addition, we want to give you the option to do some custom stuff that makes sense to what you're doing.
I don't mind. I just want to know, because if we don't define it now, we're gonna have a disaster.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm wondering how I should name the files then. You don't have to answer it now because I can do anything at the moment anyway, but I need more detailed what exactly you mean by that to make sure that we name it correctly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we will ask you to continue the same naming convention as in Marketo, even though we think you don't have to make it because you need, a lot of you have to memorize how on earth do I call an image with a headshot versus a thumbnail, the fact that is, and how many people have not followed the naming convention, to be honest. So right now we're asking you to name it the same way. We believe we can even give you slack on how you name it. Give it your program name if you want. If this image is really just for your program, we don't really care because now you can filter everything and you can tag it. So the list of tags, probably to make sure it's not 10,000 tags, will be controlled. So it has to be something like a World Tour or whatever. But your naming is now probably more flexible, but until we say go wild, we're asking you to use the same naming convention as today.
Okay, got it.
Ilona?
Hi.
Hello.
So, thank you for setting up this call, by the way. So what are the plans of having agencies involved or having the emo team involved in creating campaigns and triggers, etc. And the reason I ask is that I have no interest of becoming a CIJ expert myself, just like I haven't been a Marketo expert myself. I usually ask an agency, Leadfabric in this case, to, you know, create an event, whatever, and I know some basic stuff, so I can, you know, change text, etc., and then I let them run it. It saves me a huge amount of time. And I would like to have the same process again in the new world of CIJ. So my question is, are there any plans to have emo more involved in this, or can I work with Leadfabric in the new age on this? And related to this question is the second question that I have is, does it make sense for me and other Ilona to follow all the other training sessions that there will be, because it now also goes into the details very fast, which is great if you want to become an expert, but for me it's like
me too, don't worry. Yes, there are 100%. We will, of course, we understand that you guys use agencies. We will be supporting them. We're like Carolyn made such an amazing point about giving you the agenda. You decide if it's relevant, you dip in. We'll obviously be working with the agencies to train them, because it's a fair point, right? If we're paying an agency, we don't want to pay them money to teach them a tool. Like they need to learn the tool, right? That what they need to learn is how we are using the tool.
Yeah.
So we want them to understand the tool, and then we'll teach them how we use it. 100% though, we're working with them and we'll have different sessions aimed at that, because we shouldn't be teaching them, this is CIJ and this is how you filter. Seems a waste of time and money, right? So we'll have side sessions for them, certainly Leadfabric. Claudia's, I forget, Catherine. Thank you. I forget her agency name, but like we'll be working with them and we'll have sessions with them to like get them going. And in terms of like what they need to learn, these agendas are like, we'll share them ahead. You look at it. Is this way over my head? I don't need this. I've got are the priorities, totally understand. But it will all be recorded. We can then also share these sessions with agencies so they can do it on their time, not on our dollar.
Well, that's not exactly what I'm asking. So I do understand that. Well, I do understand that you don't know. We don't need them to be trained on, Dynamics or CIJ itself. That's something that they need to do themselves. But the processes that we have, how do we name conventions, etc. Things like that. So, but I also don't want them to say, okay, this is the link of 20 recordings that we've done from October till the end of the year. Please watch them. So will there be like a one-day training session for them? Like, okay, this is what you need to know if you want to work for Trent in 2026. Okay.
I can't guarantee the format, like it would be a whole day doing it, but 100% we'll be doing training with them to make sure they know how we do it and how they should do it to support you.
Yeah, because we also now fell in a gap in the ones using Lead Fabric when, one person left and the others needed to step in, they needed to be trained, and a lot of work landed on your desk, Mark. So I appreciate your time, but I want to prevent that from happening again, so that once we move, we can actually work with them full speed again. And, not all nitty-gritty details end on your plate or Brit's or mine, and I don't know how to use it.
100%. And we want to make sure, because part of what you're saying is like, we know it and we all agree, but we need to know that they're doing it right. And if that falls more work on Brit and my plate, like it's fine, because we'll get them to the point where they know what they're doing, everything is done right, and like we just ramp up and get smoother. Is that, Brit, anything?
No, I think, and it's a perfect example when the new people from Lead Fabric were joining, right? We didn't train them on Marketo. We don't expect agencies to be trained on how to do things, but we did do the training on here's the processes and the guidelines you need to be aware of, where you find the information on processes and guidelines, and how you work with us to make sure processes and guidelines are followed. Yeah. So that's the same thing we plan to do with CIJ, whoever needs it from an agency perspective.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions, celebrations, praise, crying?
I have a question about banners and so on. In Marketo, you could personalize banners, so you could have generic images and then personalize banners so that you don't need a design. You can write on top of the image for.
Ooh.
So can we do the same? I'm just thinking of the volumes of 4 designers now.
Yes, I believe so. But I haven't actually tested it. So here.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the question. Could you repeat?
So in Marketo, we can have a banner at the top and we just throw an image up, and then we can type the words that appear over the top of it.
So that you don't need additional visuals created for every single campaign. Or banners and so on. Can we do the same? Do you happen to know? I'm just thinking of volumes we need to work now with the designer. If we can go directly and personalize banners and so on with generic images and layer.
Yes, you can 100%, because just like in Marketo, we can do stuff in HTML. Will it be as easy as just doing something? Hopefully, yes. We still have tokens. We can still move things, but we have not tried yet. But yes, we can. We can certainly set a background image and put text over the top of it. That's very straightforward and very simple. So yes, we can. Have we tried it to make it in a way that is super quick and easy? Not yet. But we can do anything. Look at us. We're awesome.
I'm confident you can. Absolutely. Looking forward.
When I said we, I meant everyone here, not just us.
Yeah. And maybe that's one thing. I know we went through fairly quickly the comparison CIJ and Marketo. So if you look at it, and there was actually, we forgot to put the right text in there, it's blank.
Yeah.
So ultimately, if you look at, both are marketing automation platforms. Marketo has a longer experience, a more in-depth solution for marketing automation, especially for enterprise companies. They're very agile and they're highly flexible. So That is what we love about Marketo. CIJ, if you look at just comparing the features, there's hardly any feature that CIJ didn't say, oh, we can do that too. But they're not quite as in-depth. So when you're looking for agility and flexibility, you may not be able to do it as a regular user, or like, let's call MOPS, without having to go into the code behind it to make it happen. So when we say in Marketo, I love to say, hey, anything is possible, just be careful what you ask for. In CIJ2, now you still need to be careful what you ask for, and we need more technical skilled people to make it happen through coding and custom coding than the out-of-the-box solution itself. The benefit, however, is the ease of use. It's less powerful, this out-of-the-box. So I think when you guys go in there, you're going to say, oh, I like this. This is nice. It's much easier to understand because it's not so many features thrown at you. It is actually better. But as soon as you will then say, oh, but now I want this exception and I want this and I want, then you have to probably come to us more often, and we may even go even further to find out how to make it happen. It's no longer a quick feature switch. That is Marketo days. CIJ may get there too. We think they're still up and running. Obviously, it's Microsoft, of course. So January is not going to be quite as powerful, but the future is bright. It's in good hands, and it's in a big Microsoft corporation hands. Of course, the future is bright.
And there are tools that sit behind it, things like Power Automate and Power Pages that just expand everything that we can do. And obviously that's additional skills, which is why we're not going into it for this, because hopefully you shouldn't need it. We should be able to create stuff in these tools and just have it flow straight in. Anybody else got any questions? Awesome. That's good. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the overview. That was good. It looks good. Easy.
Well, honestly, like the ramp up to learn it, I mean, is so much quicker. Things make sense already because it's not totally new. So I once we get in and you get to start playing, I think you're going to find a lot of things you like.
Yeah, and I can see we can do it's the same all over one platform. That one I like.
Yeah.
Create lists or views or whatever.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you very much. I have to leave.
No, that's perfect. I mean, if there's no other questions, then thank you so much, everyone. When we know that you've got view access, we'll let you know, and then we'll set up the office hours / open bar / support therapy group on Fridays.
Looking forward.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.